The Survivor Specialists are back, and today we have our episode 8 predictions and power rankings for Survivor 49. And I am joined by Brice of the Purple Pants podcast, Survivor Cagayan, the star of Brice and Wen Present. We can say that, right?
Yeah, because it's the truth, but go ahead.
The star of Brice and Wen Present, everybody's favorite. He's here. He's going to be talking all about Survivor 49, Final 10, and we got a possible twist that's going to make us both angry. But hey, let's talk about the season first, right? How you doing, Brice?
Yes. Phil, I'm so excited. Thank you so much for having me. I feel like I have arrived. I'm a specialist. So thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Unlike popular belief, I've been enjoying season 49. It's been a rather slow start, but I think sometimes you have to start off slow to get to a really good ending. So I've been happy with season 49 as a whole.
The last 3 episodes have been really good. I thought last week's merge episode was awesome. And Nate going home, I was bummed to see Nate go. I really was. I was sad about it. But I thought the way that it played out, where the people you weren't really thinking were going to gained the power, took a little bit of control. Jawan and Sage got their way here. Savannah, Rizzo, and Sophie B are on the wrong side of the numbers. Thought it worked out pretty much as well as you could. And I feel like the story of Shannon versus Sage for 2 weeks before that was solid. So I think the last 3 episodes have been really good. I just hope the momentum keeps going because it was a rough opening.
Yeah, it definitely was. I was very happy with Sage and Jawan and their move. I personally feel like as a fan, I think it was the wrong move, but I'm happy that they made a move. And I was super, super sad to see Nate go. But it makes me, this week on Survivor News, I had asked Wendell and Jack, and I love to ask you, I feel like in the new era, people are either playing from the minority or the majority. And I feel like Nate was a casualty of being in a majority alliance where it's like they can't get to the people that they want to get to. So now it defaults to you. And so it just kind of almost makes you think that, like, now, I don't know much about Survivor. You know, I'm just a 3-episode person, but it makes me think that, like, I don't necessarily want to be in a majority alliance. Obviously, I want to be a part of it, but I think that you do better when you keep multiple options open. What are your thoughts to that statement, Phil?
I like that because what a lot of people are probably going to immediately go, Brice, what do you mean majority alliance? He was voted out 7-4. He can't be in the majority, but I get where you're coming from with this because coming into this merge, we think it's 6-5, right? If Sage and Jawan are with him, that's what you think. You know this is a really tight 3. Right now, the Ulis have been dominating this game. I think we have seen this in recent seasons, and there might be some that I'm forgetting, but it always seems like if you're 3rd or 4th in an alliance, you're more likely to take the stray bullet than the person who is 1st or 2nd. They were scared to take the shot at Savannah because they knew how close she was with Rizzo, but they weren't scared to take the shot at Nate, even though he was still close with them. They knew he was in, but they didn't think the idol played for him. So if you're going to be there, you got to make everybody think you're the number 1. You're the head honcho because they're scared to go after you. Savannah should be out of this game right now. It's amazing she's still there.
And that is my one like issue with the Sage and Jawan move. And I feel like, again, they don't listen to Sage. Everybody listens to Sage when it's too late. Because I feel like Sage made a great point that, like, listen, Savannah is a great white shark. She's actually the biggest great white shark we've ever seen. She eats people, she eats keys, she eats kids, she eats grandparents. Like, Savannah, the edit that we have seen of Savannah is like she's come to play and she's not here for the like ha ha he. And Sage has spent a lot of time with Savannah. Sage sees that. And Sage is like, hey, listen, we have an opportunity right now to get out the big honcho. And everyone was like, we got to go with the safe vote. And although it did work in Jawan and Sage's favor, I am now worried for them because you took a big shot. You've drawn your line in the sand. And now we are going to see Savannah, Rizzo, and Sophie B play with their backs against the wall. First of all, that's where that's Sophie B's home. So Sophie B is going to thrive. But like Savannah and a Rizzo, I'm worried specifically more for Savannah in the sense that like Savannah is a threat. And now with her back against the wall, who knows what she's going to be capable of. And I feel like we're going to see the wrath of Savannah in these next coming episodes.
Yeah, it's almost like, not to get dark here, but it's kind of like, you got the finger on the nuclear bomb, and then you bomb one of the countries that doesn't have nuclear bombs, but all their allies have them. And it's like, they're just going to bomb you back now. Like, what were you thinking? You went after the wrong one first. And that's what this feels like, because Rizzo has his idol. You don't know about Sophie's knowledge is power. So good on her for keeping that secret. But Rizzo has the idol. And Jawan and Sage, especially Jawan, were privy enough to enough conversations to know that Rizzo was not planning to play that idol. He really did feel that good. I get if you're Steven, you're scared of this moment because you're the other person. You're the alternate vote. If that idol is correctly played, you're out. But one of my favorite players of all time, I ranked him second best ever or second best ever, and it pissed a lot of people off. But I said Todd Herzog. And what does Todd Herzog do in China? He knows that he's got to get James out of the game at Final 7. He also knows that he's going home if James doesn't go home that night. But he puts his neck on the line and he wins the game. Yeah. Steven felt like he was making the right move and he was trying to protect himself. But sometimes you just got to roll the dice and you got to hope that you get through, because he might have survived the 11th place, but he might only be able to get to 8th or 7th now instead of 1st.
And we know Survivor is a game, Phil, right? And it's like there's going to be a winner and there's going to be a loser. And so you have to play big in order to win big. And so I think that, again, I agree with you so much that was a missed opportunity. But I also say in this new era, you have to make it to the next day, right? Like you can't think long. And that's also a problem that I have with the new era at times, is that they're always thinking about the end game and like their long goal, but it's like you can't play the long game if you're not playing tomorrow's game. And so I do think, again, respectfully, I've only made it to one tribal and it didn't work out that well for me. But if you can make it through a tribal, I do feel like there is the land of opportunity. So I am excited to see how in which this will work out. But again, I'm just nervous for them because we have a Sophie B that is aligned with Savannah and Rizzo. We know Sophie B is connected to an Alex. Alex is now connected to a Sophie. Is connected to a Christina. Like there's a world where things could move and shake. So it's like it's anybody's game at this point. And Savannah and Jawan could continue to dominate, or a Rizzo and a Savannah could play an amazing game these next 4 episodes. And that's what I do love about this game, is that we don't know where it's going to go or how it's going to shake out. So all the haters that are saying, 49, no, I think 49 is a Survivor fan game, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, and I'm going to get into how they could potentially ruin it and make us mad in just a second here based on what the announcement of is, what the synopsis is. But I just want to say, Brice doing a very good job of really prefacing a lot of his statements with, I've only done this, I've only done that, to not get caught up in the ugly conversation that's been going on right now of the old school players who are currently saying we're not hot enough. Yeah, I don't know, Brice. How you feeling about that?
Now, first of all, I love my good sis Corinne. And first of all, Corinne is going to Corinne. So I also feel like some of the new era players that are hearing these Corinne comments, I understand why they would get a little prickly, but I'm of the old school days when Corinne used to come with a notebook and do a cast assessment. So, I mean, Corinne can do no wrong for me. However, I do understand why some of the people feel the way. And also, like, listen, baby, the Brice Izyah 2026 Zaddy calendar is available now. And we have plenty of hotties on that are new seasons. So I don't know about that statement from Corinne, because the new era is filled with nothing but zaddies, in my opinion.
Well, let me hear, give us like a tease at who might be on that calendar. Can you give us like a name or two?
Well, absolutely. We have Saul, we have Andy, we have Sam, we have a lot of amazing people. We got some Big Brother people. So yeah, the Brice Izyah 2026 Zaddy calendar is.
So you got to get. Look, I've seen Corinne a lot in public. You got to get like the Cole Metters types out there. That's what Corinne's looking for. That's what her eyes on.
Cole was on the 2023 Zaddy calendar. So listen, I scooped them all up, old school and new school. But I also feel like I do wonder, like, Corinne, are you even watching? Like that?
No.
That's my question. Though. Like,
Corinne's out there giving her spicy taste. Same thing. How Randy every episode 1 he tweets out, "I hope they all die." Like he tweets out stuff like that where I'm already rooting for the fire to kill them or something. Like it's Gabon. Did everybody forget what Gabon was?
But time out though, Phil. Gabon is my #1 favorite Survivor season.
Oh, it's incredible.
Everyone has always says we love Cagayan, and they always tell their friends to start with Cagayan. Yes, thank you so much. For me, it's only the first 2 episodes of Cagayan, but Survivor Gabon, chef's kiss. Like one of the most chaotic, random, like so much going on in Survivor Gabon. So I love me some Survivor Gabon. But yeah, that was interesting. The hot people topic. I said, now what in the world is going on here?
I was dealing with air conditioning problems here, and then I'm driving. I was going down to Miami for homecoming, and I'm coming back, and I'm looking at my phone, and I'm like, holy shit. Like my phone was blowing up because people were texting me being like, did you see what Corinne said? And I'm like, oh God, this is going to be bad. And then I saw it, and I'm like, all right, that was what I expected from Corinne. And I'm seeing the responses, and I'm like, oh shit. And I'm not saying, hey, don't defend yourself. I like Sophie B had a comment of like, I wish they would have brought the bathing suits back because then I could be walking around and showing everything off. And I thought that was a great comment from Sophie B. So go ahead. I'm not saying don't defend yourself. I'm just saying what Corinne said was probably one of the least shocking things Corinne's ever said, considering Sugar's whole speech is still burned into my brain probably forever. So that's a tangent, but I just need to bring that up because that's been the hot topic in the Survivor community right now.
Yeah, I've definitely seen it. I've heard it. I've also been, I've been hearing Jeremy Collins' rebuttal video, which I think is amazing because Jeremy Collins essentially said what he said. I said what I said, and I ain't changing it.
Hey, here's how I look at that. Did she win? Yes. But I do not think AU versus the World was that good of a season. And I think it was set up, man. I didn't like it. I was very vocal about that. I feel like the AU fans, they've been so used to everybody just loving it because that's what AU is. It's like more niche. And now all of a sudden it's starting to hit the mainstream a little bit more. All of a sudden that's going to start to bring in some haters. All of a sudden Christopher Nolan starts making The Dark Knight and people are like, I don't know if I like that plot thing he used. And it's like, nobody was complaining about all the mistakes he made in his early movies, but all of a sudden he's mainstream and now we're going to nitpick every little thing. I feel like with AU here, the fan base is in for a little bit of a rude awakening now that it's a little bit more mainstream because I don't know. She won the game. I'm not putting her at the same level as Tony and Sandra. I put her at top 5. The Parv stands came out with their pitchforks for me. I said she's 5th best player of Survivor all time. And you would have thought that I said she was the worst player to ever live.
Yeah, well, I am a Parvati stan, and that she is my queen outside of Sari. Okay. So I do understand the argument, but I do understand Jeremy's point, right? Like it's like if we're talking about the franchise and we're talking about 2-time franchise winners, and like I understand the point, but I also understand I don't want no smoke with the hive of poverty, and so like she is a 2-time winner. Yeah, no, that's fine. Hey, I won't say anything more. I don't need other podcasts and other people coming after me personally. I'm just living my life. I just like talking about the show. Well, here's how they're gonna ruin it. You ready? Here's how they're ruining 49. First of all, let's get to this Matt Forrest comment. Just finished the TAR check-in with Taylor and Kylan, getting the Brice double feature today. Oh wow! All before noon too. What a morning. Wow, crazy. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Yes. I was going to say, Brice, you're a hardworking man. I saw that your podcast went 2 hours ago. I was like, what is he doing? What's going on? Yeah. I've been loving the Amazing Race. I've been loving the Amazing Race coverage on the specialist over here. You two, your two contributors are amazing. I've been checking that out in the middle of the night, but yeah, just been getting into Amazing Race. And so yes, the checkpoint with Taylor and Kyla is available. Cover episodes 4 and 7 on the Purple Pants podcast, but exclusive to the Brice Izyah YouTube channel. So go ahead and bless your Sunday. There you go. But wait, I love that. Now wait, you said you about to ruin my Sunday. Now what information do you have, Phil? So we have a 7-3 advantage for a group here. And look, we don't like to talk about this stuff too much, although we've been very open that we know who's on 50. I know who's on 50. And I saw comments in our last video being like, how do you talk about that so openly? And it's like, look, we've been doing it since June. If you're just coming in late, we talk about it on this podcast. We know who it is. Here's the deal, though.
How could they ruin an epic 7-3 advantage, watching a comeback, watching a Foa-Foa-esque comeback? They're doing a split tribal, it looks like, Brice. It looks like it's going to be a 5-5. I don't know if both tribes are going together. I don't know if the tribes are going separate. I don't know if half the tribe is safe and half is not. But we are in a situation where 5 people are going to be in danger of going home at one time. Your head could not shake faster. What's going on?
See, that pisses me off. And like, I feel like I knew it was too good to be true. Last episode, when Jeff said, drop your buffs, we're merged. When Jeff said the person that is getting eliminated tonight is going to be on the jury, I was like, oh, they've gotten rid of Mergatory. I love it. I, as a Survivor fan, hate after we are merged and you do these split tribals. What is the point? What did I work so hard to make the merge if you're only going to now put me with 5 people that doubles my chances of going home? I don't like it.
I don't like it either. It makes me really mad and it frustrates me. And look, maybe there is a chance that this is a tribal council where all 10 go, 5 are safe, 5 are not. But again, this goes back to the mergatory thing that we've had in other seasons of why? Because you drew the right rock. Should you now have a better chance of being safe? You get to final 10, make it where one person is immune, because last week's vote was great. And you know what? Right now, we have knowledge is power with Sophie. We have the idol with Rizzo, and we have Savannah on the warpath, and we know there's another advantage out there. I want to watch them naturally take control back of this game if they're going to get it back. And the way the split has worked out, I do think that they're going to be able to get some control back. And we'll talk about the split here, which was posted by Reality TV Fan on Instagram not too long ago. It looks like they're going to be able to get some power back. And this is not taking away from them. I always say with Survivor, you got to play the game that is presented in front of you. If you're playing the Richard Hatch game in season 50, you're going to lose. But Richard Hatch was able to win it in season 1 because nobody knew what they were doing. You got to play the game that you have to play. Kyle last season, and Camilla talked about it all the time. Camilla wanted to make all these big moves. She couldn't because she knew if she got to the end without Kyle, she wins. And even with Kyle, she could have won. So she had to do what she had to do. Play the game that's presented to you. This is not a knock on Savannah, Sophie, or Rizzo. But if they gain the power back because of this twist, it's not as impressive as what Chris Doherty did back in Vanuatu. That's for sure. That's just my opinion.
Very true, but it is the game, and that's like the nuance of the game, because then it's almost like a Chris Underwood win, or like the Chris Underwood conversation as to like, did he really win? And so we do have to accept that it's out of our control, but it just it takes the fun out of it. And again, I'm going to go on record like, for season 50, I hope that it's 2 tribes. Like, even though I feel like they had us voting on 3 different colors, so we know it'll probably be 3 tribes. But like, wait, can we go back to can we start with 2 tribes?
I know. We were talking about this on our we just got to Philippines on our Patreon for Every Season Matters. And we were talking about how when Philippines happened, I think almost every single season after that season, with the exception of San Juan del Sur, Blood versus Water, and season 39, have had some iteration of 3 tribes. I could be missing one in there, but you're talking Philippines is the actual midpoint of the show right now. Wow. And since then, every season except for 3, 4, 5 seasons has had some iteration of 3 tribes. That's crazy considering in the first 25 seasons, it happened twice.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I do like the drama that it does ensue the 3 tribes. But again, I just feel like historically with the 3 tribes, there's just one tribe that gets decimated to a point that we have to split. And so there is something with like seeing these big personalities and how they mesh on a 2-person's tribe. I think that it makes more interesting social game that we don't see all the time. But I mean, what can we do?
Yeah, there's nothing we can do, but we can bitch and complain. And I'm very good at that. I've done that for 10 years into used to be worse quality microphones, but I've been doing that for 10 years, Brice, of just, I get mad and I complain. And that's why we have like 6 fans, because people are like, damn, keep on complaining. But okay, here's my thing though. And I love that you were very passionate about that when you say that pisses you off, because it does get to me too. And I think they got to go to 2 tribes. I know we're going to get 3 for 50. I know that this is going to happen. I know we're going to get very much of the same. But when they look beyond 50, start looking at two tribes. Start looking at maybe a one world type setup even. Just mix it up a little bit more, because I do think what is working for this season right now, not the first 4 episodes. First 3 episodes, Jake getting medevac, that was heartbreaking. But Nicole going home early, Annie going home early, and then Jeremiah after Jake got medevac, it was all pretty telling. Then they do a swap. First episode after the swap, I thought was the worst one of the season when Matt went home, because it was very predictable. But then what happens? Then you start building this Shannon and Sage story. Jason goes home, and then you do another swap, and look at the chaos that second swap caused. So if you go 2-3-2 or just 2 and then 2 tribe swaps like Gabon, like your favorite season, why not do something like that and just mix it up? Because the mixing up is what is giving this season life right now. And now they're going to go back to the old status quo and something stale, and that might ruin the momentum. The train might be hitting an iceberg here. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel you on that. The mixing of the tribes that give the people at the bottom the opportunity to switch. It opens up the floor plan of the house that we're building to change things up. And so, like you said, the first couple of episodes were a little like the tribe that got decimated, and now we're just picking the tribe off. I'm with you. We can start off with 2, switch it to 3, go back to 2, but like give us an episode, give us 2 episodes of just 2 tribes. It just would be so nostalgic, iconic. And I think sometimes the better parts of the older seasons when we had 2 tribes I love the reasoning for the person going home, right? Like sometimes it's like you snore. Sometimes it's like you talk. Like I miss that. Like Phil, you just annoy me. Like I want you out because you annoy me. Like I miss those type of votes.
What's the best episode of the season after yours? San Juan del Sur, what's the best episode?
The best episode of the season after mine.
Yeah, San Juan del Sur. Drew Christie boot.
Wow, okay.
And it's all about this one clown just getting dominated by the edit, dominated by the dumb women in his tribe. And that's really why Kelly Wentworth plays again. Right? She wasn't a big personality on San Juan del Sur, but in that episode, he was so committed to Kelly Wentworth going home. He made such an ass out of himself that he made a legend out of Kelly Wentworth. Like, good for you. Thank you, Drew Christie. But that was pre-merge. And Brice, you're a pre-merger. You've already said, look, I've only done this many episodes, whatever. How'd you feel about Jeff last week saying pre-merge doesn't matter now the game starts? How'd you feel about that? Because that feels like I still had to watch 6 weeks of Survivor that you just told me didn't matter.
We all know Jeff makes comments that he has to walk back. And again, I have always been a fan, and I will always like die on this hill, or however y'all say it. I would love a season of pre-mergers. I'm not just saying it because I'm a pre-merger. Like I do feel like we get so many people that gets out of the game that don't get a chance to play that could be superstars. And like we said, Kelly Wentworth, Michaela, they both were pre-mergers their first time playing. Like I would love to see a pre-merge season. I think that would be iconic. And I'm not even saying that because I'm a pre-merger. Like I'm just saying that as a fan, there are just so many iconic people that just didn't get to shine or could have been chaotic and played such a great game that I think that like Survivor needs it. And Jeff's like, we don't have enough big personalities. Well, didn't you cast all of these people? Like they had to have somewhat of a personality, Jeff. But
meanwhile, back in 2002, he was like, how do we get Hunter back on our screens immediately? He was the greatest thing to ever walk the face of the earth. And look, I love Jeff. People rip Jeff too much. I rip Jeff, I think a reasonable amount, right? It's a loving amount. I want Jeff to do better on a lot of things, but I appreciate what Jeff does. I'm not a person who's going to walk around saying Survivor would be better without Jeff. There's too many people who think that. Blake, one of my co-hosts here, is one of those people. He's very open about that. I don't feel that way, but there are certain things that all of a sudden, like, you can't tell me that every pre-merge cast that you've had over the last 9 seasons is bad. We have people like Annika going home very, very early, right? Maddie Pomia, Thomas from last season. We have great characters who are in this pre-merge portion of the game. And to just say, oh, that doesn't matter, we're moving on. It's like, that's half of your show. There are 13 or 14 episodes in every season. 6 episodes are dedicated to the pre-merge. There's got to be more to it, and you can't have a lack of care there. And it did feel like on this season, with the exception of the Jake boot, there was a lack of care for the first 3 or 4 episodes. It was taken for granted. It was, these are going to be boring anyway. Let's just do it. And personally, I think the season 49 premiere is one of the worst premieres in the history of the show. It had no spice. Now I like the season. I like where the season has gone. I truly do. But I thought the premiere of Survivor 49 was one of the weakest because there was nothing different. It was just the same exact thing. And that hurts. And I'm complaining about the same exact thing right now because this mergatory, whatever it is, somebody put in the comment that Mike Bloom did confirm, and I believe everything Mike Bloom says. Mike Bloom confirmed only one person is voted out. I guess it's like 47's tribal. So what we saw with Rachel when we were in New Orleans watching the episode, and we all were like, I guess Rachel's screwed. And then somehow this magical thing just appeared to her. But yeah, I don't know. I get frustrated when they go back to the same things that really haven't been working. And that, look, I know nobody listens to me, but most of the people who are important in the community are voicing these complaints.
Yeah. And even like Jeremiah this season, I thought he was a great player. The fact that he lasted so long, it shocked me. Like when I saw the cast, I was like, oh my God, is he going to be the first boot off of this season? And the fact that he was able to like ingratiate with Sophie, kind of like go before Annie. Like I thought Jeremiah was great. Could you imagine what it would be like right now if Jeremiah were in the game? I don't know if he would change it that much, but I just think he would add something so great to it. So yeah. I'm with you, Phil.
All right, you want to hear the split?
You got the TT. Oh my God.
I reality TV fan, man. I'm telling you, people love to just text me. And what's funny is everybody who sent me this goes, I hate that they're doing this. That's the funniest part. Like almost everything was just, look at what they're doing. This sucks, blah, blah, blah. So multiple people sent me this picture. And this is where like, I don't know like real spoilers. I always tell people, if you're on Spoiled Survivor, like you go live your life. You don't invade mine. But when it comes to this kind of stuff where it's just getting posted on Instagram by pretty, normal accounts that we all follow, I'm like, all right, I guess I'm gonna have to find this out. So here it is. Brice is sipping his tea here. We're ready.
I am. So are you gonna give me the safe or are you gonna give me the people that are eligible?
Oh, I don't know that. I have no idea. I just know which team. So it's like a blue team versus a yellow team, potentially. Yeah.
So I'll be slow sometimes. Oh, I hate that.
No. Look, again, I don't do the whole spoiler thing. I don't do the whole, oh, let's go find out who wins or who loses or whatever. I just know what the split is. And the 5 people on each side. And I guess one tribe is going to go. I guess it's going to be like what happened when it was Rachel and all of that blue tribe. One person's going to go and the other tribe is going to watch tribal, I guess.
Okay.
You ready?
Break it down to me.
All right. On the yellow tribe, we have Steven, Christina, Soph, who's not a real person, Sophie B. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
Savannah and Alex.
Uh-oh.
And then on the other side, we have Sage, Jawan, MC, Sophie, and Rizzo and his damn idol.
Ooh, that's interesting. Because I'm trying to think like who that last group that you said, obviously at this point, Rizzo has to play his idol. So I would have to take him off the wall. So that would mean like now I would be scared for a Jawan, maybe even an MC.
Even Sophie, right? Because Jawan and Sage are close. Now, Rizzo, if he plays his idol, probably is the decide. Like, I don't know how that would go. I don't know who Sophie's close with, but we did see that scene in episode 2 or 3 where Sophie and MC were talking, and MC said, "Hey, Christina's throwing your name out." And that was like the first time Sophie spoke. And she said, "I hate this. This is bullshit." If those two team up against Jawan and Sage, where does Rizzo go? I would think he would go with Sophie and MC. No, I mean, he's probably got to be pretty pissed at Sage and Jawan after last week.
But sometimes the devil that you know is better than the devil that you don't know. So I could see like, oh my God. So that it would mean that it'd be Sophie and MC would be on the block.
Yeah. Okay, which would be frustrating to see that go down that way because neither one of them have really done anything wrong. And this is where, again, if Rizzo plays his idol and
he has to,
right? Unless he's sitting there going, well, they're not going to vote for me. Now this is where I'd give him credit. Like, let's say that this is a 5-person tribal. And he doesn't play the idol because he knows that he's got the threat of the idol. So now people are saying, well, I got to go here. I got to go here. He doesn't play the idol and he gets one of the numbers out. That's impressive. But just playing the idol for yourself when you're the only one there, that's not crazy.
Yeah. See, that's the type of stuff though that gives me anxiety, right? Like, I can't even think that way. Play the idol. Don't even try to risk it. That's That's why I meant to be a pre-merger, because like I wouldn't even want to come up with a plan to try to play the idol Rizzo. And then so on the other tribe, it is Sophie B, Savannah, Christina,
Steven and Alex.
Oh.
So Alex is kind of in the swing position there because you have Christina and Steven on one side. Sophie B and Savannah are close. And then Alex, who voted with Steven and Christina, could easily swing back in this vote to vote out either Steven or Christina. But again, I think it's just one boot. So only one of these teams is going. But now all of a sudden I see where the numbers are for Sophie B, Savannah, and Rizzo to survive this tribal council. I don't want to say easily, but almost easily.
They absolutely can make it, because if Savannah and Sophie B are together, Sophie B and Alex are connected. So like there's no way that's undeniable. I want to say that Alex is probably connected to Christina really well. So that, for me, I'm worried for Steven. I feel like
Steven and Alex killed the chicken, though.
They did, but I feel like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's, okay. So I think the two people that now I have to watch out for are, in this episode, Christina and Steven, and Sophie and MC.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy that...
Go ahead.
There's just a world where Rizzo, Savannah, and Sophie B escape this. They escape going home after this big move. And again, this is why it pisses me off that nobody listened to Sage, because now if Savannah can skate this, her options continue to open up, and she's a great wife.
Yeah.
Can I also know your thoughts on Alex? Because I feel like Alex is playing an exceptional game. I feel like Sophie B is getting... I feel like Alex and Sophie are siblings, but Sophie B is like the mom and dad's both their child, and Alex is like the dad's child from another marriage, where it's like that we both see what they have been through. And Sophie B is killing it, and I love Sophie B. But I also, these last couple of episodes, I've been watching Alex outside of a puzzle, because we know Alex struggled with a puzzle. But outside of a puzzle, I feel like Alex has been so great in challenges. I feel like he's been through the same thing Sophie B has been through. He's been able to ingratiate into all of the tribes that he's been in. I feel like I'm just not hearing Alex's name talked about enough.
It's very weird, because as somebody who never played, all I look at is edit, right? Like when I'm watching the show, that's what I'm looking at. And Alex was like strong really early on. And now that he's like, he didn't go to tribal councils for a couple episodes, so it makes sense that he disappeared a little bit. But this last episode, when he voted with the group of 7, I was shocked, because I know he had the one brief confessional of saying, I might not vote with Sophie and she might be surprised by this. But I felt like he was way more integral to why the decision might have been made than we were led to believe. Like, what was his say in everything that was going on? Who did he want to go home? Because I think you're right. In terms of, do people like Alex? I almost feel like Alex is finding that Davey role on this season, where everybody really likes him, and he might have 1 or 2 really big moves in him, but he doesn't have anybody who feels so good with him that they're going to take him to final 3. They're going to say, you're good at this game. I don't want to go to the end with you, but I do want to keep moving forward with you at least a little bit. Because last episode, I felt like I didn't understand why he voted the way he did. And that kind of irked me, because I felt like I knew so much about him when he was on that disaster tribe early on.
Right. I feel like, and this is just, this is my opinion of me watching the episodes, and just me, because I create my own. I feel like, did you play The Sims back in the day?
Of course. Yeah.
Like, I feel like I play Sims with Survivor, and the information that I have from watching these episodes. And I feel like Alex is way more connected than they would have us believe. And I feel like the edit, they don't want us to know who he is connected with, because for me, in my Sims simulation, there was no way that he was going to vote against or not vote with Sophie B. Like, there's just no way, because it's just like, yeah, you've made these other connections, but in my opinion, in my simulator, Sophie B is way more ingratiated in the is it Hina Red?
Hina was yellow. Uli was
Okay.
red.
Uli, she's way more ingratiated than in Huli, and I would trust them more than like where Alex is like with the Hina. I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot more that we're not seeing of Alex, and I
Agree.
think Alex can potentially go really, really far.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I feel like it's very strange, and especially if in this episode, let's say his tribe does go, he is the deciding vote in that episode. If it's just the 5 of them voting, now if all 10 vote, that's different. But if it's just the 5 of them voting, Alex is the person deciding whether it's going to be Savannah or Sophie B, or it's going to be Steven or Christina. And for him to kind of take a back seat last week's episode, I always like looking at confessionals. The fewest confessionals in the episode were Rizzo and Alex.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Can we talk about the Riz God real quick? Because first of all, I love the Riz God. And
the man, the myth, the legend, baby. Don't forget to say that every time.
Okay, the man, the myth, the legend, baby. I love the Riz God. When I saw the season and I saw somebody going by the Riz God, I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna hate this person, right? But I'm like everybody in America, I've fallen in love with the Riz God, and I think that like he's just chef's kiss. I mean, if I ever seen a zaddy before, I feel like that's the Riz God, Corinne. But I feel like, and I said this last week on Survivor News, is that like we haven't met Rizgod yet. I feel like we've just met Riz, right? Like, and I'm excited to know when he's going to shift into this gear. And I feel like, given last week's tribal and Jeff actually saying, hey, Survivor 50 is open. Some of y'all could be on here, and now I'm just curious to see like when we're going to see the Riz guy, and I'm sure there's like a lot that we haven't seen, but his edit has been pretty like tame in the sense of like I want to see the Rizgod get dirty. I want to see some blood on his hands. I want for him to call somebody and say the call is coming from inside of the house. Like, I want some hard, like I want to see some.
I agree. And I think it might be coming with that idol still. The fact that he didn't have to play it at 11, the fact that he had the stones there to not do that, I think might be what sets that up. Because so far, I don't remember if I said this on the podcast or I was talking offline. I can't remember, but he's one of the first characters in the new era that has purely been there for comedic relief. We used to get those characters on like every season, but I feel like so far, at least what we've seen from his edit, it has been comedic relief, comedic relief, comedic relief. He found an idol. Great. But comedic relief characters can find an idol. So
what about Star from last season?
Yes, but Star also was barely on the season. We barely heard from her. So that's where I think it's also weird where like Rizgod is here as the comedic relief and he's getting a big edit too. Like Star, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Star was amazing, but Star did not hit. She wasn't converting to TV in the way that Survivor wanted her to. Whereas for some reason, they're like loving Rizgod. And Rizgod, to me, like if you were to ask a lot of people, like you said, America's fallen in love with Rizgod. If you were to ask a lot of people who their favorite on the season is, I bet you a lot of people would say Sophie Bolardi or Rizgod. And if they go with Rizgod, you say, okay, now compare him to somebody else you remember in the new era. They're not really going to know because he's the funny guy who's also the star of the season in some ways. And we haven't really seen that in a while. But if you're going to be, for the 3 people who yelled at me on Thursday, if you're going to be on 50, there's got to be more than just being Big Tom here.
And so and that's why I'm excited to see the evolution of a Rizgod. And like your man Jeff said, the first 6 episodes didn't matter. Now we're here. And so I think, it's going to be cinema. So I'm excited to see what will happen because it's like, are you going to turn on Savannah? Are you going to are you going to make a Jesse type of move that's going to like leave our jaws wide open? I'm excited, but and I love Riz, but I just feel like he's been chilling. And I'm excited to see the tiger come on out of him.
Well, and what's interesting about this split is if he goes to tribal and it is just the 5 of them voting, he plays the idol. That's not an impressive play to just play the idol. It's not, because you're outnumbered 4-1 based on what happened in the last vote. This is where I think Survivor does kind of hurt their players a little bit. If you want to build those underdog comeback type stories like we all saw early on. Sari should have been the first person voted out of her season, wasn't. In that same season, they wanted Terry out from final 10 on, and he goes all the way to final 3. Panama is really well loved because of the storylines they were able to build with these underdogs. How much more interesting is it if you sit down at Tribal Council on Wednesday night and all 10 people are voting and one person is safe, and Sophie, Savannah, and Rizgod aren't safe, and Rizgod has to figure out who to play that idol for? And did they get Alex on their side? Something that's so much more interesting to me, and that's what builds the legend of these types of players.
But see, you're also the type of person that I be cussing out, Phil, because yeah, but also, yeah, that's great, but also play the idol, live to see another day, and you have now more chance to build this resume. Because like I said before, that scares me. Like, you're right, that is the more cinema move to play it on somebody. But bitch, don't play around. Here, Jeff, like, take it now, okay? Because I don't want to play. But I see what you're saying. But I'm excited to see where the Riz God goes.
Yeah.
I also
go ahead.
And I was gonna say, I also have another hot take, and I've said this from episode 3. I think Sage is final 3.
Oh.
And I've said that from the get-go. Now, mind you, do I see Sage winning? I don't know. But since that confessional, when Sage was like, I grew up, my friends talked about me, I had to change friends. Like, I've just been waiting for Sage to, like, potentially make the merge, find a connection that she feels solid with, and make moves. Because even in this Sage and Jawan pair, I feel like the opposition, i.e. Sophie B, Savannah, and Riz, I feel like they're going to be like, Jawan's the problem, right? They've already, like, identified Jawan early on. And so, like, I think that they'll believe Jawan is running that. I feel like
we're gonna rank our players here, Brice. 1 to 10. And I'm gonna say this: I'm on the opposite side of you on that. I think Jawan is in a much better spot than Sage, because I think Sage and Savannah are about to go to war. And I think Jawan is going to be the guy who's just standing there with the gun on his shoulder being like, look at them go. This is nice. And he's going to be walking over to the side that wins. Yeah, I think Sage is going to be in more trouble here, because also I feel like even though Jawan and Sage both betrayed people this episode, everybody on the Uli tribe, from what we've heard in confessionals, likes Jawan more than they like Sage. So they're going to take it. They might take it more personally that Jawan did it, but I feel like Jawan has a better chance to get back in. And Sage has been very honest, whether it's with the audience, with Shannon, or with anybody on her tribe, about how she feels, what she wants to do, whatever. I don't know if she's going to be able to get back in as well as Jawan. So I'm on the opposite end of you, but a final 3 Sage would be awesome.
Yeah, I think Sage has been making more inroads with Yuli. Yeah, like, I think she's been like,
that's it.
Hina, mind you, y'all know what I mean. But like,
that's why you always say yellow and red, yellow and red, yellow and red.
I was trying to sound like a specialist and know him, but I guess I'm not.
I only know him this season because people have been saying him so much. Any other season Coco is the only one I remember, because that was the Blue Tribe from 43, and that was an easy name. That's it. Crash Bandicoot's sister. That's all I know. All right, go ahead.
But no, I'm just saying, like, it'd be interesting to see. But I definitely think Sage is somebody that she could potentially go. But now people are saying people saying the wrath of Savannah. Now I'm scared, because I am. Yeah,
this is a Hobbit. Bye for the Hobbit. Sage is gone next week. Savage Savannah is coming.
And I believe it.
So the only thing I want to say before we do rank him, because when we have 10 people left, we can rank pretty quickly, especially when we know the split and everything like that. MC played her idol last week. And I always say, and you might not believe this now that we've been podcasting this long, and I'm trying to figure out how Rizzo can keep his idol.
Right.
I always say, you get an idol in New Era, you just play that idol every time. You just play it, because they're going to put another one out, and you just play it. So I respect that MC did that, even if it was the wrong, air quotes, move.
Bitch, can somebody rewind the tapes? Okay, Phil, you just went on a 25-minute rant as to why and how Riz needs to make a move with the idol. Please explain yourself.
I just think that if I'm in Rizzo's position here, he's in a position where it's, can he not play? Can he get away with it being a fan that he is? I'm playing it every time, Brice. I'm not getting every single time. I am not going home with an idol in my pocket. I know they're going to hide him. And they always say, Russell Hantz said this first, and then everybody kind of followed suit. I know everybody loves Russell Hantz. I know. Brice, let's get Russell Hantz on. Actually, here he is. He's backstage. No, so Russell Hantz said this first, and it really has rung true. If you find one, it gets way easier to find a second. And then it gets easier to find a third because you know what to look for. You know what's happening, right? So I do think
I got thoughts on that, but
okay.
I save my thoughts.
Well,
and it does get easier.
Yeah, well, I do think that I would want to play one every time. Also, if you're in the position of MC or Rizzo, everybody knows you have it. And that's what makes it so difficult. And honestly, we were talking about it last week. MC accidentally made an amazing move. Why? Because Savannah knew she had the idol, and Savannah was going to tell her alliance for sure. And Sophie has knowledge is power, which nobody knows about. But now by MC playing the idol, there's a chance that somebody in her alliance can get it that Sophie doesn't know has it, whereas Sophie would have just been able to take it from MC. So it's wild, but it actually really worked out in MC's favor.
But mind you, I love MC. We don't talk about MC, and I don't feel like there's enough talk on MC either. She's a challenge beast. She clearly knows the game. She's not docile. She gets in the action. So I'm just nervous that this has put MC on Savage Savannah's radar. But I am hoping that they can still work together. I feel like at this point, every day in the new era is a new day. And so we can make it work. Now, also, sidebar, I do want to swing back to Russell Hantz real quick. Because I feel a ways about a Russell Hantz. But
there's a line in there that people used to use, the pickup line, can I steal your digits? Something like that, right, Russell? Yeah.
Something like that. So for that reason, I don't want to say too much because I do believe Russell does have my number. But do you want to know what like a guilty like pleasure of mine at like 3 a.m. is? It's to now, mind you, I don't follow Russell Hantz on TikTok, but I guess for like the past month or so, he's been like traveling. Like, I don't know, like he's been like in like all these countries, and during the day he's out and about. And again, you know, when you're on TikTok, I don't click on the live. I just stay and watch it. But as the night progresses, he seems to get intoxicated, and baby, whoo, I cracks myself up at intoxicated Russell Hantz in a jacuzzi talking to 6 people on TikTok live. I mean, it's cinema.
Hey, it's cinema. You gotta find your thing, right? Gotta find your thing. I don't know. Brice, you're gonna be 3 a.m. one time. You're gonna be like, is that Phil in the jacuzzi? That's it. Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. I know the 50 stuff, and then some of the stuff he said, I'm like, man, it's a shame. I like Russell around 40 was great. Everything he did for Jonathan Penner and stuff, it was awesome. And then I don't know what happened, but here we are. All right, that's it. We're all about to get. What's this? A death? Okay, never mind. Yeah. All right. Let's move forward. Let's rank these 10 people. Let's rank them. Who you think is safest? Who you think is going home? 1 to 10. 1 is your safest. 10 is who you think is going home. I can remind you of who's where and all that fun stuff, but let's have a little discussion about this.
Okay, so this is just safest, not who I think. Okay, so safest, I have to say 1, Rizzo, because he has an idol.
Yep. And that's what I have. And how often do you have the person who is in the wrong side of the numbers as the number 1 person, even with an idol in the new era, because so much can change? But in this era, and especially with this split, there is no way he goes home. No way he goes home on Wednesday.
And normally, if we didn't have the split information, I would be listing Sophie B next, because she would have, if it was just a regular tribal, she would have the opportunity to take Rizzo's idol if she were under pressure. And I do believe from everything that we have seen of Sophie, because she has even said it to us, that, yeah, I'm working with Rizzo and Savannah now. So I would rank Sophie a little bit higher. She would normally be my number 2, but I'm probably going to have to put her down to like my 4th slot, just because if she's not going to be at the tribal with Rizzo, whoever goes, she won't have that advantage, but she still does have an advantage. So I guess my second safest person, I'm going to have to go with Alex.
Okay. I like Alex's position too, because like we said, Alex puts himself in a swing position here. And I don't think, speaking of Survivor Cagayan, I don't think he plays this the way Sarah Lucina did. Like, he's not going to overplay his hand here. And I don't see any world in which Savannah, Sophie B, Christina, and Steven ever vote together to vote out Alex. So I'm with you. The only way that Alex goes home is if the twist, rather than what we saw in 47, where it was give somebody safety, instead you're giving them go home. You're giving them death. You're giving them do or die. And they have to do it. So I agree with you. I'm actually going to put Alex at number 2 as well. And then we'll start hopefully mixing it up a little bit here. But I was killing it until Nate went home last week. So
yeah,
maybe I'm off.
and
I think Alex
also, just shout out to Nate, though, because in all of the way that Nate was able to ingratiate into the Hooli, I said it right, the Hooli tribe, the way he was, I don't know, like, Nate was going to be a problem. So I understand the reason for getting him out long term, but like just that episode, I'm like, you got the great white Savannah. So I have Riz, I have Alex. I'm gonna go MC.
Okay, so you do think MC will ultimately survive that tribe there?
I think MC will absolutely survive it if they go, because I feel like she might have been at odds with Savannah, but Savannah is a logical numbers lady. And if anything, just as big of a move that she dove in for those keys, she'll dive right back into an MC, right? They can have a conversation, and they both are strong women to know that, listen, if it's not us, we can work together. So I definitely think MC is safe.
What was the Brice reaction when she dove for those keys?
Bitch, I loved every moment of it. Okay. I just loved it, because I love how she was just like, yeah, Joanne, and then it just was like, jump. But then it's just like, girl, what was you going to do with them keys? What were you going to do if you got the keys? But that's why I loved that. And then you saw her tweet being like, listen, I didn't wait 12 years to stand on the sideline of Survivor. So whether you love me or hate me, like, I went for a move. And that tells me a lot.
Yeah. Now imagine, Brice, you and me are at a bar and your wallet's on the bar top. And I'm like, hey, Brice, man, you're like, I love being around you. This is so much fun. We're having a good time tonight. I just slide my hand over and try to grab your wallet, and you like slap my hand away. You're like, what are you doing? And then I'm like, oh man, you're just like my best buddy. We're such good friends. That's literally what just happened in this episode. Because then Savannah's standing there going, I still want to work with you. And MC's going, what? You just tried to take the keys.
But listen, it's a game of Survivor. And here is the thing. You gotta be flexible. You gotta be like, you gotta take. You can't forget, but like, a number is a number. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you could be, what's the saying? Don't spite your nose because of your face, or don't spite your face.
Don't cut off your nose to spite your face.
Right. I'm just saying. Okay, so then MC, then I'm gonna go Savannah. Then I'm gonna go Sophie B.
Yeah. Let me get my picture back up so I can see who's on what tribe.
I'm giving you my 10, or are we going back and forth?
Oh, we can go back and forth. Normally you go back and forth, but you're on like a heater. I don't want to interrupt. I don't want to interrupt greatness when it's going, you're good. So
you want a snake draft, because I hate snake drafts because they don't make sense in my opinion. But
you went MC and then Sophie B. I'm gonna go with my number 3 here. As crazy as it's gonna sound, I am gonna go with Jawan. I know that's gonna sound crazy, but I feel like the way that this broke out for him, I think that, like you just said, Savannah and MC aren't going to be at the same tribal if they go, or if it's all together. I don't know if MC would be the primary target. Savannah and MC, I think, are going to have a conversation where it's going to be, hey, I'm on this side, but MC is going to keep things open. I think Savannah and Sage are going to go talk to each other, and Savannah's going to go, nope, that's not working. Get the hell away from me. We're not playing together. And that's going to lead to, if that blue team does go to tribal council with Rizgod, Sage, Jawan, Sophie, and MC, Rizzo, if he had his way, would probably want to vote Sage out of the game because that's better for his alliance. Jawan's a little bit more predictable, I think. Sage is a little wild. It's the whole Jeremy Collins. You want to play with people who know how to play the game, don't know how to play the game. Sage knows how to play the game for sure, but she's way more unpredictable than Jawan is.
So, okay, I hear that. This is my take on that, right? Jawan, we seen from like the first 4 episodes, he was wholly strong to his own detriment. Even when Hooli was like, if I get rid of Jawan, I get rid of Jawan. And so, and the way they edited with the Shannon vote out, right? It seemed like Sage had to like really say, listen, she's voting your name. And it almost appeared that he was still willing to be wholly strong. My question to Jawan now is, what are you now, right? Like, you just were so wholly strong, and now that can't be. And so, like, for me, it's like, what are you going to give, and how are the original Hooli members going to take to that? Whereas, if you are my best friend and you stabbed me in the back, that's going to hurt a little bit more. But if I ain't really mess with you and you stab me in the back, I could see it. It's not Hooli. Oh, wait. What am I saying? Uli.
Oh,
yeah.
That's all right. You know what, Brice? At this point, we're just combining the 2 tribes.
Yeah.
You just made your own tribe. Yeah. It's going to, at the end of this podcast, we'll say, okay, which 5 people get to be on the Hooli tribe that Brice Izyah put together?
Yes.
But I get that. You know what it is with Jawan? I feel like Jawan wanted to be in with his original tribe so bad. And I think he thought he was for a little, and then things went wrong with the bag and with the water bottle. And good on Savannah for getting pissed because, again, you are here to entertain me and you are doing a great job. And so I'm all about that. And I think what happened to Jawan when all of that started to break out is then he gets over to another tribe and he bonds with somebody like Steven and he goes, oh, shit. I forgot what it was like to meet a new friend. You know what I mean? And that doesn't mean that these other people don't like him. It's just, you know, when you meet somebody for the first time, if you're actually going to really get along with them or if you're going to have to force it. And I think he met somebody like Steven and just said, man, I don't have to force this. I think Sage had the same thing with Steven. I think that's why the 3 of them just laid on the beach being bitchy. I think they were just like, screw those other people. We don't care because we all like each other. And so I think Jawan would rather play with the other people. But I think Jawan still has an inroad with Uli because beggars can't be choosers. And if you're Uli and you come out of this and you're down 5-4, and at the next tribal council, Alex doesn't want to vote with you, or you're down 5-4 and Alex does want to vote with you, how do you get back to 5? You're going to need Jawan. So I think Jawan is in a very good floating position. I keep saying he has a chance to win, and the chat just keeps telling me I'm a dumbass. But I really think he has a chance to win.
I love Jawan. I think that questionable how he was moving, but again, like I do believe this could have been the shake that he has needed. You're maybe like having me second guess my order because I was going to go, no, I'm going to stick with my order. So my number 6, I'm going to
wait, you got to go 5. You only did 4.
Oh, okay. So MC, then Sophie, then 6 is Savannah.
Wait, what about 5? You went Rizzo, Alex, MC, Sophie, B.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so Sophie's 4. Savannah is 5th for me.
Okay. All right. I'm going to also, so this is what's hard. I'm going to put Sophie B at 4, just like you have her. And we'll get into a little bit more of Sophie B after we rank, because I do feel like Sophie B is still in the best position to still win this season.
Agreed.
So we'll get into that a little bit more after. I'll put her at 4 though, because she still has an uphill battle a little bit. This next one might seem crazy, but I'm going to put Steven at 5. And some people might be going, what the hell? And this is me just like being edit. Christina, I know so little about. if somebody's going to get screwed by a twist like this, it's going to be Christina, not Steven. Even though Steven might seem like the vote that makes more sense, maybe Steven finds an idol. Maybe he finds an advantage. Maybe Steven wins immunity, because we do see in these situations, normally one person from each tribe will win immunity or something like that. I do think that Steven is ultimately going to come out of this, even if it seems like he's against all odds, because again, going to 47, this was the last time we saw this. Tiana was the one who was all chopped up, and we were out. She was my preseason winner pick, and halfway into the fourth episode, I'm going, who is Tiana? I don't really know Tiana. And then she goes home in kind of a stray bullet, random kind of way. I don't see Steven getting that type of vote out.
I love Steven. This is where I feel like I disagree with you a little bit, is that like I feel like when we're watching the episodes, I think we see different things, right? We haven't seen a lot of Christina, but I have seen a Christina and an Alex. I have seen a Christina and a Sophie. I have seen a Christina with a Shannon. I have seen a Christina with a Nate. I have seen enough of Christina with people that makes me feel like, although we are not seeing much of her, it makes me feel like she's aligned. Mm-hmm. And I don't need to see you if you're aligned. And with Steven, I just feel like he has had trying 3 episodes. And with the split of how these tribes have broken down of what you've shared, I'm a little concerned for him.
You know what my other thing is here? I actually do feel like, I don't know why, especially when you have Christina on the yellow team and then you have MC on the blue team. But I feel like what we're probably going to get in this challenge, and I don't know if the challenge has been released, I have no idea, but like I feel like you're going to get an endurance type challenge. And if I'm looking at the endurance type challenge, MC loses a little bit of her edge in those because she is a very physical person, but I don't know if she's as much of like endurance. And we watched Sophie win the one last week. Steven did very well at that kind of random, bow challenge. So I'm almost of the belief that yellow is going to pull this out if it is that endurance type challenge, just because when I look at the rest of the people on the blue team, Jawan, Rizzo, Sage, they haven't been great at challenges. It's really been MC and it's been Sophie, but Sophie, that was the first time we saw her be great at a challenge, was this last one. Maybe that was just her thing. So I think there's more opportunities on yellow for yellow to win, which maybe is why I'm overrating them a little bit. And I think blue is ultimately going to be the team that goes. I keep calling it team, but they're tribes. We just did a tribe swap. We had 1 week of one world, and now we're back to a tribe swap. That's all it is.
New era. So my number 5 is Savannah. I'm going to go number 6, Christina.
Okay, so see, we're on the opposite end there.
Yeah.
What? So you said you're seeing Christina. You feel like she's aligned all of that. What is like? Where though does Christina go? She threw out Sophie's. Every time she throws out Sophie's name, we get a confessional from Sophie saying, "I can't stand this. I can't believe she's doing this." Blah, blah. What do you think of this?
I don't think she's against Sophie, right? Like, and I think the last time that they brought up Sophie's name, I like got into an argument. Well, not an argument, but I talked about this on Survivor News, where I felt like when it was Nate, Christina, Alex, and Sophie, I thought giving up Sophie's name made sense if we wanted to like not worry Nate. Like I felt like, oh, okay, like the 3 black people have bonded. That was like that was a real thing to me. And I feel like it was a conversation in front of Sophie. And so I heard and I could see why Sophie was like, why my name? But then I opened up this discussion of like, don't nobody ever want to be the decoy, but somebody got to be the decoy. And it's like, how do you navigate that? Obviously you never want your name out there because the more people hear your name, but if you're locked in with somebody or locked in with 3, why is that always such an issue when they're like, oh, Phil said my name? You just agreed with Phil. Like somebody got to be a decoy.
I think what it comes down to is it's who's throwing your name out. Like if you, me and Wendell were on an island, if Wendell says, Brice, you got to be the decoy, you're probably like, all right, Wendell, I know you well enough. I know you're not going to turn on me because if you do, I'm going to ruin your life. But if I were to say, Brice, you got to be the decoy, you're going to go, all right, Phil, I've seen you like 3 or 4 times. I don't know you that well. Like I can't like bother you and ruin your life the way I can easily ruin Wendell's. I think that's where this came from. I think for her, it was, I don't trust Christina enough for her to be the one saying this. I think had it been Alex, who said it, even though they didn't spend as many days together, if MC had said it, maybe she would have reacted a little bit more positively to it.
See, and that's kind of where I go with it, because it's like it'd be different if Alex brought to Sophie and was like, "Hey, I just had a conversation with Christina. Christina said we should use your name." That's different.
Yeah.
We're having a discussion.
Yeah, it's true. That's a good point.
So that's why. But again, I don't think that Christina, and I don't think Christina trying to get Sophie out is a real thing. I don't believe that in my heart of heart. So that's why I say I just feel like we haven't seen a lot of Christina, but I do feel like she's built connections to go a little longer. And so if my number 6 is Christina, then I am going to go 7 Jawan.
Okay. Yeah, and I have Savannah at 6, then I'll go MC at 7. So we're kind of like flipped on MC and Jawan here, where actually literally you have MC at 3, Jawan at 7, I have Jawan at 3, MC at 7. I feel like what probably happens though on that team if they lose, Rizzo plays his idol, and then it comes down to which side is smart enough to try to make a move. I know MC went to bat for Sophie, but Jawan and Sage are like this at this point, right? They're not flipping on each other. I think there's more of a likelihood of Sophie and MC overthinking things, or potentially a 2-1-1-1 vote, or Rizzo votes with the red people or something like that. So I do feel like MC could be in danger, but I also am curious if people are viewing MC as a threat to win the game or just as a threat from a physical standpoint right now. And I almost wonder if Sophie Segretti became a more threatening player because, one, nobody really knows who her connections are, and two, she just won the immunity challenge. Is she now a little bit more dangerous for people than MC, who she got her idol, she played her idol, she was willing to get rid of it? Does that actually lower her threat level because she wasn't overthinking the idol play? She just said, screw it, I'm getting it out of here.
Yeah. And I think back to the early days with MC and Steven when they first met, and MC was like, I wasn't sure if I was going to like you, but you seem cool. That type of vibe of MC makes me feel like her and Sage will connect. We know Sage isn't a fake person. And I think that I think MC and Sage can connect and get along. And so that's why I think that they'll be able to kind of maneuver this if Rizzo plays his idol. But again, I also just feel like, again, the Hooli, we have Rizzo, Sage, and Jawan. MC was with the Red Tribe. Like, you know what I mean? She has connections over there. So again, it just makes sense in those numbers. How mad can Rizzo be? And this can be a testament to Rizzo. Like, even though Sage and Jawan, they made a move on your alliance, can you still work with them in this position? And like you said, could you even maybe pull out the fact that maybe you don't have to play your idol? Because I would assume that they're all going to assume that he's going to play his idol, even though he should. But that conversation that you bring up is like, can you finagle a way where you don't have to? Yeah. That's starting to see a little of the RIZGOD, okay? Like, that's not Riz. That would be Riz. So yeah, there's a lot of moving and shaking. And my number 8, I'm gonna have to put Sage, because I do feel like I feel like Savage Savannah, whether they on the same tribe or not, she coming for her.
I have her in the same spot, and I think it comes down to that devil you know, devil you don't know kind of thing, right? If you're Rizzo, would you rather play with Jawan, MC, and Sage, or play with MC and Sophie? The thing is, like, MC and Sophie were on the Yellow Tribe to start. They're Hina. They were singing and dancing all the way into every challenge. But when you turn around and then you say, well, Sage and Jawan just backstabbed me, it's like, okay, but if they backstabbed me, who are they going to turn to? They're going to go back to the Hinas. We feel like Alex might be closer with Sophie than Jawan or Sage is. If MC voted against me, who does she go back to? She goes back to all of the yellow people. And the yellow people have a much tighter bond because there's 4 of them who played together. They didn't go to tribal councils together. They just stuck together. They only need to get one more person. Jawan and Sage are on this weird island where they still have to bounce around, and you don't know if their allegiance is 100%. So if I'm Rizzo, I think I'd rather play with Sage. And that's why I have Sage safer than Sophie Segretti right now.
Yeah. I'm interested if they do go to tribal, I need to see a Sage and Rizzo conversation, because I feel like the last conversation we've seen of Sage and Rizzo was when Sage was feeling a little uneasy and Rizzo was kind of giving her those like, you got to get in the game. You know, like he was giving those like when people be like, I need to make a Survivor video. What should I do? Be yourself, you know, have lots of energy. So it would be kind of almost full circle in this moment where on this tribe, Sage is a little bit more in power, and it will be interested to see like where her in that conversation with Rizzo would be. So excuse me, I'm excited to see how that will work out. But then my number 9 is Sophie.
So what is that? Who does that make your number 10?
And so again, you just said based on who I think is going home, not their position or who could win. And so
no, this is based on who you dislike the most on the cast.
No, don't do that. Because I love Steven, but I am worried for him. I feel like this will potentially, if that 5 goes to tribal, this will be his 3rd tribal of him dodging and dodging and dodging. And it just makes me a little nervous for him. And
how does he get out of it? Give the pitch for him to survive it.
Well, let me give you the pitch that they take him out. Is because I could see a world where Savannah looks at him like, okay, y'all took out Nate. Like, I feel like Savannah could look at him like how they looked at a Nate to Rizzo and Savannah, where that's what Javon and Sage's Nate is a Steven. So I feel like, and he's a yellow. The way that he gets out of it is, one, he could find an idol. We've seen that happen. And it's it's Savannah, Sophie, Steven,
Alex and Christina.
The only other, like, the way that he could get out of it is if they like pin it on Christina and Alex has to make a decision and he just goes with the majority and doesn't like push back too much. So there is a world, and I could see that happening. And if that were to happen, kudos to Alex, because sometimes I think what's harder in the game of Survivor is that you don't think about it when you're actually watching on TV. It's like when to jump shit.
Yeah.
When you have to make that move, and it always looks a lot more easier and cinema on TV. But when you're actually in that situation, sometimes your friendship or your loyalty can get blinded.
Right here, right?
Yeah.
Mitch. When's Mitch going to make his move?
Right. Like you kind of get, so yeah. So, and if Alex were to do that, I think that's a resume booster for him. Because it's like, okay, you're not scared to jump. Like, you're not scared to do what you need to do. And so that's a world where I could see Steven can make it, or they just win entirety and that tribe just don't even go, and Steven will be safe.
Yeah. And again, I don't really know how the voting is going to work here, because I don't know if all 10 or just 5-5. I go Christina at 9 and Sophie at 10. Because like I said, I think that one tribe has a better chance to lose. And I think Sophie just has 0 connections on the group that she got. Even her MC connection is very loose. And so I feel like MC has enough relationship with other people that maybe she says, I'll just buy myself one more day. Who cares? I don't want it to be me. Let it be Sophie. We'll get her out of here. We still have the numbers if we go to a normal tribal. And it does make sense from an edit perspective, because I think Survivor knows when their twists are stupid. And I think that this is a stupid twist. And normally when somebody goes home because of a stupid twist, they get totally screwed in the edit. And right now, Sophie Segretti has had the worst by far on this season. Through the first 6 episodes, the only person with fewer confessionals in the entire new era than her was Heather from season 41. Heather. Yeah.
Didn't Heather make it to the end, though?
Heather made it to final 4, but it shows, and it was actually funny because after 5th episode or 4th episode, she was third fewest behind Erica and Heather, which is hilarious because that's why everybody complained. That's why I hate 41. It's like, you got to show me Erica, guys. Like, what are we doing? But I do feel like when you get a stupid twist like this person tends to get overshadowed unless they are just an automatic larger than life personality, which I don't think Sophie falls into that Andrew Savage from Pearl Island's like major personality. You're going to give huge screen time, even if you get screwed by the Outcast twist. So I think that maybe that's where she goes home here. But I still have a couple more things to say here, Brice. So I'm going to need you to stay on the clock for just a couple more minutes, because I have to ask you if you agree with this or disagree with this, because you just mentioned timing, making a move. When do you jump ship? When do you not? Mitch, he got so much shit for doing the never, he's wagging the finger and everybody's posting that. When's this guy going to do anything? And he's doing that. But here's my question. We just watched a group make a move at Final 11. Jawan and Sage and Alex went with Hina, made it a 7-4 vote, gave themselves a 7-3 advantage, saying, this is our numbers, we're good. But now, in this episode, we split up. And we're in agreement that the people who are on the right side of that vote, your bottom 5 are Christina, Jawan, Sage, Sophie, Steven. They all voted correctly last week. My bottom 4 are MC, Sage, Christina, and Sophie. They all voted correctly last week. Does this type of splitting up of teams and splitting up post-merge actually incentivize not playing aggressively and just kind of sitting on your hands a little bit?
Absolutely. I think it breeds it, because this is where I feel like Survivor is a game of luck at times, where it's like, yeah, you need to have a great strategy, you need to play great, you need to make great relationships, but people don't talk about the luck part of Survivor enough. And it is chance. I hate to tell y'all that, but some of y'all favorites are your favorites because of luck and hard work and dedication, but luck plays into that. And I think that this is a part of it, where it's like, this kind of just is the luck of the draw. And so absolutely, what big move can you really make at this point? Like I don't know, because I feel like, yes, there is strategy behind this, but at this time, like for this is one of those where it's like, you have to make it to the next day, period, is my thought process. What do you think?
Well, so here's what I think about it is, would Sage and Jawan be in a better spot if they didn't flip on Nate last week, based on this Final 10 split? Yes. With the Final 10, if they knew that it was going to split at Final 10, sticking to the status quo is safer. Now, if it's going to be a normal merge like we saw for 40 seasons of Survivor, if it's going to be a normal merge, then making the move they did is the better move, but there's still plenty of wiggle room. There's plenty of advantages, plenty of vitals. You pretty much told Jawan and Sage, thanks for making the move. Best episode of our season so far. Sucks to be you, because now we're going to mess the game up so that everybody in your alliance of 7 is somehow going to be on the wrong side of the numbers, or could be on the wrong side of the numbers. You would have been better off because you wouldn't have pissed anybody off last week.
Now, let me ask you this question. Say they made a move. Say they got rid of Savannah and Nate is in Savannah's position. Now it's Nate, Sophie, Alex, Christina, and Steven.
Yeah.
Are Sage and Jawan in a better position?
I still think they're screwed. I almost feel like it's the same situation. Nate might be a little bit more calculated in his responses than Savannah, right? He might not be as emotional in his reaction as Savannah, but I think Nate would be going, we're on the wrong side of numbers, Rizzo. We got to figure this out. We got to figure out what we have to do. Sophie B, what do you want to do? And maybe taking out the queen of the alliance, which Savannah is, maybe that makes the rest, you cut off the head of the snake, the rest falls apart. But at the same time, I feel like you're almost in the same position, because same advantages are still in the game. So Sophie B and Rizzo still have theirs. Nate actually probably had better relationships than Savannah with the people who aren't in the numbers. I mean, everybody's like, Savannah's crazy. Savannah's going after me. Savannah's a savage. What's all this? But then Nate, he was helping Sophie with the puzzle. Him and MC were bonding. Him and Christine. Nate was having a great time. Everybody liked Nate. So I actually think that they're in a better spot that it's Savannah than Nate. But they're still in a worse spot than they would have been if they did nothing.
I do disagree with that, only because I feel like Savannah has shown us that she's made connections with people. Like, we, the viewers, are seeing the savage Savannah. I feel like Savannah has inroads and connections with just as many people out there. I just feel like that because she is playing this aggressive game and she is a woman, that like people perceive her as like, oh, she's crazy. But like, we seen her with MC. Yes, that was crazy, but a good crazy. But outside of that, she still maintains her relationship. She's still going up to people saying, look me in my eyes, like, I want to work with you. So I almost think that if a Nate were there, I think Nate would be maybe even more vindictive, because we know how when Nate went home, who did they say said his name? And like, he didn't want anything to do with them. Like, he was like, yeah, get them out. For me, this will tell me who is really adaptable in Survivor. Because listen, Rizzo, you could be mad at Sage and Jawan, but like, what is a better move for you? To get out Yellow, or to get rid of a Sage and Jawan? Like, I don't like.
And you know what? It's funny because this is still compelling, right? We're still coming into an episode. It's still compelling. It's still how they're going to work this out. What's going to happen? What's all this going to be? But I always talk about Survivor too often in the history of their show have done short-sighted, good one episode ruin the rest of the season. I always talk Game Changer is the best example of that. The Malcolm Double Tribal Council is this great moment, huge thing, two tribes coming together. Oh, it's so cool. It actually pretty much sets in motion the downfall of that season, right? Malcolm, JT, Sandra. And then all of a sudden the post-merge, you have people left where you're like, what are we watching? You know, and I do feel like it started there. You got rid of one of the favorites to win that game in something that he really could not control. And so when I see that, that's what I kind of look at with this. This episode, we're having the conversation. We disagree on who's going home. We are a little bit all over the place. But are we going to come out of this episode going, that was a good episode and now it's made the season better? Or are we going to be frustrated because it's coming out of it and now we're going, okay, well, now it's very easy. Sophie Bolarity, Savannah, Rizzo, Alex, and maybe one other person goes with them. They have the numbers. They're going to run the rest of the game. That's what I worry about, because they really earn it as much. And am I as satisfied? It's not that did they earn it. It's am I as satisfied as a viewer that they earned it this way rather than earning it the other way?
For me as a viewer, because I feel like luck plays a big part in it. And so I think the episode that we are going to see, episode 8, it's not going to be a drastic episode, but I do think it is going to like help navigate as to where the game is going to go. And I think that will be pivotal. I definitely think that the idol conversation will come in like where somebody's going to find something. Like I guarantee it, because they're going to go on idol hunt. So like that could drastically shift the game. And so it'll be interesting. For me, I really just want to see who goes home, and I want to see where the Savannah and Rizzo and Sophie are compared to like where the Sage, Steven, and Jawan are. For me, like that's kind of like the battles that I'm watching now, and that's where I really want to see from this next episode, as to see who's going to come out on top. Because at this point, I'm not looking at yellow and red anymore.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking at like, okay, the opposition and the opponent, and then we've got these people in the middle that can kind of waver. And I really want to watch a Sophie B, because I feel like I want to know, is Sophie B going, like, I think she is in a good shot to win, but in my opinion, in order for her to win, she has to turn on a Rizzo or a Sophie. I mean, or a Savannah. Like, I feel like she has to make a move like that.
Yeah. So but right now you think Sophie B wins the season?
She's pretty high on my list.
Okay, so who else is high on your list then? I thought that's where you were going. So who else is high on the list?
I mean, I have an Alex high on my list.
Okay.
I have a Sophie B. I have an Alex. I feel like depending on how Savannah comes out, these next 2 episodes, I feel like she's pretty high on my list. Those are my three right there.
Yeah, I feel that. And here's my question though is with Savannah, let's say Savannah gets on the right side of numbers here. She's going to be playing this game where people know she's the top target. Right now, they're starting to look at her that way. That's how they're starting. We see in the preview, that's how they're starting to talk about her. How do you let her get to the end of this game? How do you let her even near the final five? Like, I don't get it.
Okay, but I asked you this question because I was Sage last week. This is what Sage told y'all yesterday.
Yeah.
So this is what I mean. This is what I mean. Like
this
Sage
distracted. By the way, this is what distracted Brice right there. Oh my God, Brice did a single day since Kagi on this whale. That literally, Brice was in the middle of going, and he looked down. I watched your eyes go down, and you read that, and you said, "Oh shit!" And then it was like,
"Appreciate you, baby boy."
All right, get back to Sage. Come on.
No, I'm just saying, like, don't miss me with that conversation, Philip, because Sage told y'all.
Yeah.
So now, if Savannah can skate, which she probably can, and again, can you imagine, can you imagine if a Savannah makes a move on a Rizzo? If she parts ways with her, that's what I'm saying. Savannah tweeted something that I brought up before where she said, listen, you either love me or hate me from that move, but I didn't wait 12 years to get on Survivor and play like Brice. Okay. She said, I'm going to make a move. And again, big risk, big reward, big risk. Sometimes you're whatever. But so I just feel like she's able to do it. And so y'all had your opportunity. And so if she does it, if they let her skate, I just need for everybody to I don't need to be like, how did we let her get to final 5 or 4 if she gets there? Bitch, you should have listened to Sage. And that's all I gotta say.
I love it. No, I think that's great. I think that's great because you know what the funny thing is, last season when it came to Joe, everybody was saying they got to get rid of Joe and Eva. The audience was saying they got to get rid of Joe and Eva because they're going to win. But Kyle and Camilla were saying we can beat Joe and Eva. We know we can beat them because that's how the game goes, right? And I feel like right now, as an audience, we're saying Savannah gets there, she's probably going to win. I know right now she's getting a little bit of a villainous edit. I actually think the last 2 episodes have been pretty bad for Savannah, but she could easily turn it around. She could. And if she turns it around, it plays this aggressive game. Then it's going to be not just the audience saying, what happened here? It's also going to be the cast saying what happened here. And when that happens, you just sit there and go, what did happen here? What the hell were you thinking? How did you let this get to this? It's like D, right? How did you let D get all the way where she did? And Katurah, how did you not vote D out of the game at Final 5?
But and likability, D was super likable. Savannah is super likable. If she can, again, I'm not she has an uphill battle. Yeah. I don't know if the next 4 episodes she can make it out of that. I don't know.
Yeah,
but she is likable. She is somewhat insulated. And again, I feel like a lot of what we are seeing on a Savannah is in her confessionals. Yeah. They were being super hard on her with the Jawan thing because she was coming at him in his in her confessionals. But what we see of her interacting with Jawan is pretty tame.
She's very calm compared to when he picked up the bag and stuff. She handled that like a pro. She was a champ about that. She was.
The funnier thing about that episode with Jawan in a book bag when he went to go gather sticks and they're discovering that it's Savannah's book bag. If you look beyond that scene, there was nothing but sticks and leaves.
I know.
So it's Jawan, you went on a journey and it's sticks and leaves right there. But again, I do love a Jawan, and I feel like sometimes I'm a little critical of him. But I do think I'm interested to see where Jawan goes as well. I think this is why I'm happy with this season, because we can have these conversations, right? We can have these conversations about a multitude of people at this point, right? We can have it about an MC. We can have it about a Jawan. We can have it about a Riz. We can have it about a Sophie B. We can have it about there's so many people. I almost feel like last season, and no shade on 48, but outside of the Joe regime,
yeah,
there were a handful of people that we could talk about this with. And so again, I think that the production side of what we're doing and what we're thinking. But we have some movers and some shakers, and a Steven. Steven, if Steven can get through this episode, he could win.
Absolutely. And I think like what you're saying there, no, again, this is not saying necessarily the 49 pre-mergers are bad. It's just saying that this season is benefiting from a good boot order, which 48 did not have. 48 had you lose Say as early as you did. You lose Thomas as early as you did, right? You're losing players early. And look, there's more, right? I'm just singling out those two because those two were clearly getting big edits and were massive in the show. And on this season, if you really think about it, Matt, Jason, Nicole, Annie, and Jeremiah weren't getting these massive, like, fall in love with them kind of, edits. Jake did, but Jake also had that crazy moment that you're going to make him likable when that happens. Then you hit the post-merge, and that's what I kept saying. After the Jason boot, going into the Shannon situation, I said, we're at the final 12, and I know 10 of these 12 people now. And I don't know. So I didn't know Sophie at the time. I didn't know Christina at the time. I feel like I've gotten to know them better in the last 2 episodes. But 10 of 12 is really good because last season, remember, we spent 2 episodes where it was, hey, it's going to be Star or Mary. And then it was, now it's just going to be Mary. Like, there was no drama to 2 episodes at Final 8 and Final 7 of last season. And this episode coming up, episode number 8, last season, episode number 8 was when Chrissy went home in an 8-1 vote. That was a landslide, and everybody knew it was coming. And we didn't really know Chrissy. So I do feel like I am in total agreement with you that the boot order of this season is helping because right now we're sitting here going, it could be Jawan. It could be Savannah. It could be Rizzo. It could be Sophie B. It could be Alex. It could be MC. It could be Steven. The only 2 I really don't think it could be are Christina and Sophie. That's it. But again, that's that's the editor's fault. That's not Sophie and Christina's fault. That's because I've just been watching the show too much and I just know what they do and what they don't do with their winners. And since Erica, every single winner has had a confessional in every episode except for Erica in the whole new era. And Sophie and Christina don't have them right now. But I could see every single other one of the people winning. Probably not Sage either. She's probably like 3rd. I think I agree with you. She could get the final 3, but it's an uphill battle for her to win that. But we're in for a fun ride in the post-merge. Just production, don't ruin the fun ride. Like, don't break the ride.
Don't break it. Yeah. I'm with you. I'm excited. And yeah. And I feel like, no, I won't even talk. No, okay. I'm excited to see what happens. All
right. We're done.
Okay.
Yeah. Brice is excited to see where we're going. I have very much enjoyed this. I got my questions out of the way. I feel like we did a good job here. Where else is Brice and Wen Present going, and what do you have tickets still left for?
Well, we will be in Chicago this week, which is, I hear, a great episode from Phil, and we have a lot of great surprises. So we'll be in Chicago. Our good friend Ozzy will be in Atlanta this week. Then we'll be in Denver, Philadelphia, Baltimore, New York. So tickets are still available. You can click the link in my Instagram, or you can head over to Brice and Wen Present and join the fun. The season 49 has been such a fun tour for Wendell and I, and we just love the community that we are building with amazing people. So come and join us and have some fun and cheer. It's always so fun, Phil, because my family, they have like no idea what Wendell and I do. Like, my brothers are like, so you and Wendell go from city to city and watch Survivor? I'm like, yes. And it's a time. And the best way I can explain it is like the playoffs, and you're watching your favorite hometown team. It's like, it's just that, but it's for us, the Survivor community, the people that get it. So it's so much fun. So would love to see any of you there, and come watch some Survivor with us.
Go hang out. And yes, they're not in Miami again, everybody. I know. I'm just going to keep saying it. Look, Brice, I've told Wendell I'm going to end up moving at the start of the new year. We're going to go back to LA. And then you guys are just going to be like, oh, let's go to Miami. Phil's not there. This is going to be awesome. And we'll send Ozzy to LA so we don't have to see Phil still. I believe that you plan your routes.
I want to get to Miami. I love Miami. I love, even Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, that would be a good spot, honestly.
Yeah. So, yeah, hopefully for 50 we can make it happen.
I'll be gone. All right. But anyway, no, seriously though, if you get a chance to go to an event, I always talk up the events, but like I love going to the events. I went to a couple last season. And that was good. And then I went to the New Orleans one, which was a good time. Owen pretty much just being like, hey, I have my entire wedding weekend coming up, but sure, I'll come hang out and watch Survivor with all of you. It's like, dude, and he already has a kid. It's like, man, your priorities, like he knows how to plan. That's all I'm going to say with him. He can schedule. But yeah, they're really fun. Go check them out. Get over there. Get to as many as you can because Brice and Wendell put on a show and you never know who's going to show up. And that's the most fun part, right?
You never know. And that's the best part. And make a new friend. Get some more people in your Survivor pools and your Survivor draft. That's actually really the best part, Phil, though, is that we come to cities and some people that have gone to an event and they've come by themselves. And the next time we come, they're with 3 friends that they met at the event. And like it's this organic grassroots community that I love. And it's just great to be a part of it. And if you've enjoyed my time with Phil, I am over at the Purple Pants Podcast, covering Amazing Race, covering Survivor with Wendell and Jack. I do a little premonitions if you're into tarot cards. I cover sports, all of that at the Purple Pants Podcast. So I'd love to see you there. And also the holiday season is upon us. And what better way to celebrate the holiday than the gift of a Zaddy? You can get the Brice Izyah 2026 Zaddy calendar, which is available now. Makes a perfect stocking stuffer. And tell Corinne that there are still hot people on the new era. You can get that in the link in my bio on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, wherever you follow me, Brice Izyah, Izyah. Phil, this has been so excited. I feel like the first time I ever was on The Specialist was like 4 years ago when you invited Wendell and he told me and I was like, I'm going over your house. And I just was in the background the whole time and I kept interjecting. And so I feel like I've come so full circle to be here.
I don't know if you remember the real first time. It was during Thunderwood season 38. We had you on for one and you were like so pumped. Chris Underwood was playing well on Edge of Extinction. Playing well. Yeah, that's what we're going with. Playing well on Edge of Extinction.
Yes, we love Underwood. And again, such a big fan. And I think Tegwith is such a great addition to the family. And so I just love all the things that you do over here. So thank you again for having me.
I appreciate all of the kind words, Brice. How many calendars are you up to now? How many Zaddy calendars? What year is this?
So this is 2026. So this essentially is like my 7th calendar.
Wow. Yeah. This is the big one. Lucky number 7, everybody. That's pretty good. That's 7, crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. I feel like that's been a staple my whole life. I can't believe that's only 7 years. It feels like it's been around forever. That's great. Yeah. I love what you guys do. I'm super excited to see how the season's going to play out. Hope you all kill it over at your live events. I hope everybody buys a Zaddy calendar. Buy it for the special someone, right? It's like Elf, where it's like for that special someone, he buys the lingerie for his dad, not realizing what it means. It's like, get the Zaddy calendars for that special someone. Anybody. Yeah. Grandpa needs a calendar. Get him the Zaddy calendar. That's what he needs. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, check out our Patreon. What time is, hang on. I gotta check this now because Tegwith has a podcast coming up with Annika on on Monday at 8:30 p.m. Annika and Tegwith. That'll be live. There you go. You got a bell.
Yes, I'm seated. Annika and Tag, sign me up.
There you go. So that'll be on Monday. And then Will and I will, of course, be back on Wednesday, recapping the episode. So yeah, thank you all so much for listening. Brice, thank you. It's always a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, everybody. And we will see you next time.
Bye.